from 2 years ago, and if someone else tells me a score they get on a workout from 2 years ago, I'll remember it for them. Like, that kind of stuff just sticks in my head. Like, I can remember watching you snatch 255 off the low blocks. Like, I remember, like, those moments stick in my head. So I've been blessed with that ability. Like, I consider it a blessing. If you're not someone who can remember what your workout even looked like last week, then you need to journal it down and write it down and write everything that went into it.
Especially your big workouts.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're going to care about Murph in terms of, like, year by year, you're going to be like I know plenty of people who are always like, I'm going to shoot to get under an hour this year. I'm going to shoot to get under an hour this year. Like, make sure you're tracking, like, how exactly long it took you. And it takes 10 seconds to write this down. Put it in your phone.
And I definitely think if you care enough about your fitness level that you join a CrossFit gym, you're putting in 3+ hours a week because you're coming to the gym 3 or more times a week. You're paying a decent membership price to come to the gym. I mean, I think our rates are $100 a month, I believe. So you've got more than $1,000 wrapped up in it a year. If you have got that much passion about your fitness level, then I think you should have those benchmark WODs. And they don't have to be the same benchmark WODs for everybody, but you should have those benchmark WODs that you do write down so that you know. Do you have something to gauge? Have I improved over the last 6 months or 12 months or a year and a half? You should have that. So, but
I mean, even then, it's important to note what was the time like in your life at that point. Because maybe you are slower this year, but maybe your life's taking a drastic turn. So you got to keep that in mind too. You know, like, maybe you've gotten a different job, taken on more responsibility, and had a kid. Like, you know, your time might be slower. Doesn't mean you're not fit. Just means your time might be slower. So you got to be realistic about that kind of stuff.
Great point.
Last thing to cover. If you really cared about Murph, you do it once a year. What do you think would be the focal points of things you would include in your training to make you better for next year? Or would you change anything at all? Let's just hypothetically say you had a 50-minute Murph. You were like, I really want to do 45 minutes next year. Like, really good standard. Or I want to get down to, like, below 40. Like, I want to be, like, superhuman on Murph. I want to do under 40 unpartitioned.
The first thing you have to do is give yourself an evaluation of what you did in Murph this past year. Look at both mile times. And if this is your goal, then yes, you should have evaluated what each one of your mile times were. Look at both mile times. Is that something that realistically you could shave without taking so much away from your workout? Could you shave the first mile by 30 seconds without deteriorating the workout the rest of the way? And then I really like what you did with the push-ups, which is something that when I do it again, I will do. Having a feel for how long each movement takes you. I think by looking at that evaluation, you're going to know where you need to focus on going into the following year. And then obviously you got to keep things in check the following year. If you go in and do 2 years ago, Murph almost killed me, but I was also 30 pounds heavier than I was this year. When I say Murph almost killed me, much respect to anybody that does Murph. I finished my air squats and walked the last mile, and I'm man enough to say it. I mean, it is what it is. It's a tough workout. Finished my air squats, walked in the last mile 2 years ago. So you can't have that goal that you're talking about and then completely let the basics go. And then I think from there, you know, if you feel like, hey, I could definitely stand to pick up some stuff in my mile time, or gain some minutes in my mile time, you start working in a little bit of extra running. Somebody like myself, I don't run a lot. You write all my programming, you know, I don't run a lot. If my main focus point were Murph, I'd run a little bit more. And then just making sure you're extremely sound and efficient in your body weight movements. Yeah, in the basic movements. And that's something I feel like at CrossFit Bohica, we as coaches try to do a really good job of expressing to our members how important it is to be great at the basic body movements.
Yeah.
You can have a 300-pound back squat, but if you can't air squat, then that squat's not improving your quality of life anyway. Same thing, I've heard every one of our coaches say it. If you want to get better at pressing anything, improve your push-up. You can't do a push-up, you're going to struggle to press.
Yeah.
So just making sure you're improving those foundational movements, and that's going to lead you into the next year. And then if you're serious about it, you get 8 weeks out, you need to start Murph prepping. I mean, you need to start doing things. That's a lot of volume. Most people, how many times have you, as the coach, the person programming at our gym, programmed in 100 pull-ups in a workout?
Never.
Never hit that volume. Never hit 200 on push-ups.
Yeah.
Never hit 300 on air squats.
The only way you're getting 200 push-ups is if it's in an AMRAP.
Yep. And you absolutely crush the AMRAP.
Yeah. Like, you could get up to 100 pull-ups or 200 push-ups in my programming, but you'll have to do it because you're doing it in an AMRAP.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to put, like, for
Just
time.
put it in there. So, making sure that you're prepping for that volume.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, this is huge. If you're moving from 50 to 40, in my personal opinion, if that's your goal, then I think you probably should be looking, if you're looking at a 40-minute Murph and you're not doing it with a weight vest, then we probably need to be doing it with a weight vest. Just my opinion, you may disagree with that. But the reason I said that kind of to lead into it, the work that you're doing as you're leading up into your prep, you need to throw a weight vest on for. You need to prep in a weight vest.
Yeah.
That's going to give you a much different stimulus prepping in a weight vest and not prepping in a weight vest. Even running. And if you hadn't ran, you could get your run great. You could be running 6-minute miles consistently. But if your plans are to do Murph in a weight vest, you need to put a weight vest on and run a mile, because it's not just the weight of the vest on you that's going to make a difference. How it constricts your ability to open those lungs up is going to make a huge difference too.
So true.
So, would you do anything differently?
I mean, outside the general like, those are all basic movements that people will neglect or skip or skip the day that they're programmed on anyway. So you need to make sure you show up on those days. Yeah. To do all the volume of the boring stuff that you can. If you get your shoulders stronger, you can do more push-ups. So that's not just doing more push-ups. Like, you need to do more single arm dumbbell overhead press ones program. You need to carry the dumbbell overhead more when it's program. You need to do bench press ones program. You need to do barbell strict press ones program. You need to do barbell bent over rows because your lats engage when you do push-ups. You need to do dumbbell bent over rows. You need to do single arm high pulls, band pull aparts. You need to do all those things. I think people like see a movement and then they're like, oh, to get better at that movement, I just got to do a lot more of that movement. That is true for like 4 movements that come to my head. All other movements can be improved by just getting the joint that angles it stronger.
Hey, just for Chris Johnson, we'll give him a West Side Barbell reference.
Yeah.
If you go into West Side Barbell and you start talking about wanting to bench press more, they're going to tell you better get your lats a lot stronger.
Yeah.
So, like you said, there are very few movements that, if you want to get better at this movement, the only thing you need to do is this movement.
Right,
so,
yeah. That's not to say you don't do that movement ever, but you do that with other stuff.
With accessory work.
Yeah.
So,
and then make sure when you do it, obviously you're doing it right.
yeah.
Which, video yourself doing workouts every once in a while. You don't have to video every single one, but like, if you're ever curious on watching yourself move, because it gives you a lot of insight. Like, it even can make something that your coach has been telling you over and over and you're just not getting, the second you see yourself doing, you're like, I do that.
Yep.
Like, man, I'm not locking it out overhead. That's why my triceps are weak, because my triceps are never having to lock out anything over my head. You know what I mean? But if I were to improve on Murph, like if I was just gonna like improve my own time, it would just be make the body weight movements a lower percentage of my total strength, so get better at all the strict associations with those movements, and then make sure I was very proficient in an EMOM format with all those. So I think if you did all 3 of those movements in 10-minute EMOMs, and then you work to being able to complete all the reps in a 10-minute EMOM, then you would at least therefore know that you could do.
You could handle that volume.
Yeah.
Yep.
That if you could do 100 pull-ups in a 10-minute EMOM, 200 push-ups in a 10-minute EMOM, and then 300 air squats in a 10-minute EMOM, that's 30 minutes right there. So you already know, okay, so that leaves the rest of my time in running.
Yep.
If you can do even better than that in those EMOMs, then you know, okay, I'm giving myself more running time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easy way to look at it.
Did you go to failure in Murph on anything?
Only time I hit failure was push-ups. Like I had to stop and take like a couple of nice 30, 40-second breaks on push-ups.
When you were getting ready to go to failure in push-ups?
Not like, I never hit one where I was like, I was doing the rep and it failed the rep while I was doing it. I would get to the last one and be like, if I did another one, that's not happening. And
you knew about how long you needed to recover to come out of that.
Yeah. And
I think that's significant. You weigh 220 plus right now. 220-pound individual, good fitness level, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, didn't reach the ultimate failure mark. In any workout, if you've got a large amount of reps and you hit that ultimate failure workout or that ultimate failure point, you come off the pull-up bar and you cannot possibly do another rep, or any type of pressing workout and you cannot possibly do another rep, so you're not familiar enough with your own abilities to know where you need to come off at. You can't do another rep on pull-ups. You're looking at another 40 plus seconds to recover. You can't do another rep on a push-up. If you come back in a minute or two, you're going to be lucky and actually do a legitimate push-up. And I think
especially
sometimes people miss that. They jump in and they're like, hey, I want to complete this just as quick as I can, so I'm going to knock out a huge set. And they jump up there on that second set. I'm going to try to match that again. And before you know it, you might be looking at 45 pull-ups in, and I'm at singles, and there's no way unless I take a 5-minute break. I take a 5-minute break. Yeah. And those are the little things maybe scheming the workout's the best thing you're looking for, but just being familiar with yourself jumping into this. Yeah. And if you wanted to make that improvement going into next year, I think that goes back to that EMOM that you were talking about, the EMOM strategy that you were talking about. Doing that and making sure you're familiar and knowing where you're going to break or hit that fatigue point, that I don't hit the fatigue point of no return. Yeah. And it's common in pull-ups. You're probably not going to get there in air squats. You will get there in pressing. Yeah. Like we've seen the CrossFit Games decided in handstand push-up events because people have pushed the handstand push-ups too far and can't get it back. I know we're talking about a push-up and a handstand push-up, but the pressing mechanics of that, or at the rate that you lose them.
Much more muscle.
Yeah, so. Murph 2020.
Murph 2020. Yeah. Get ready for Murph 2021.
January 1st.
January 1st. Actually, we'll start prep tomorrow.
Got it.
Tomorrow's Thursday WOD will be 4-time. 6-mile run.
Murph
straight into 500 push-ups.
Like it.
Straight into a 6-mile run. We're just going to focus on the push-ups.
Hey, Chris, what did you do 2 days before Murph?
I bench pressed 55 times.
How much did you run 2 days before Murph?
How much was that running? A mile and a quarter?
For you. Yeah. It's about 2,000
10
meters.
times 200. Yeah.
Do you think that played a huge adverse negative effect on your Murph time?
Yeah. I probably could have got like 2 or 3 minutes less.
Yeah.
Push-ups probably wouldn't have been as bad.
Yeah.
Which is like, going back, I did the push-ups a little bit faster last year, but I'm better at pressing right now than I am last year. That was last year. So I probably would have done push-ups a little bit faster. But going into, I never go into Murph like, I need to rest up the week before.
Yeah, that was what I was getting to. But
I literally do Murph because of the sentiment of it.
Yeah.
Because of the memorial and that. Murph has never been like, which I'm not mad if it is someone else's like, hey, this is my benchmark. We're like, cool, go for it. Everyone's got their benchmark quads. But I never go into that workout like I need to space it out, like make sure I'm kind of deloaded.
Gotcha. And that would be something you make note of. Hey, this happened 2 days before.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, you need to know, like, even something as simple as, not to backtrack too much, but last year I did on Friday before I went out drinking on Memorial Weekend. But this year I did it on Monday after I drank on Memorial Weekend. My time was worse.
Which is a no-brainer for most people. However, that might be something you don't think about from year to year. So
you need to write that. If you're someone who's forgetful, like I would remember that if I did that. Like 2 years ago, I know what day I did it on. Last year, I know exactly what day I did it on. This year, I'll know exactly what day I did it on.
No, we're kind of asking a lot of Murph questions, and we're wrapping it up. How much time would you recommend in between your Murph attempts?
Depends on how fit you are.
Okay.
Depends on how fit you are. If you're just general fitness, but you're really fit and you want to go do Murph again in a couple weeks, go for it. I mean, I'm not going to stop you. Just understand how it makes you feel, and if you have other things in your training that you're trying to make better, you're going to affect that. Like, I squatted before I did Murph because getting my squat up is more important to me right now than...
I guess the reason I asked that question is if you were somebody who maybe you're a little frustrated about your Murph time, my recommendation would not be today's Wednesday, go out and do it tomorrow if you did it on Monday. So the other thing to ask yourself is, does it really matter that much to you, or it's just in the moment does that matter to you? Because if in 2 weeks you don't give a crap about it, then it never mattered enough to you in the first place. So just brush it off and don't think about it. I'm about to say, if Murph was not on your radar prior to a week before Memorial Day weekend, then you're in that boat where it didn't really matter all that much to you anyway. So, and as always, don't do any comparisons unless it's to yourself. Yep, absolutely. Because you might have someone who's like, yeah, I back squatted this, but someone else back squatted that. I want to be able to back squat as much as them. And then a week later, they're like, well, I saw this person push jerk, and I want to be able to push jerk as much as them. Like, you're trying to get better at 4,000. You're trying to put maximum effort into 4,000 different things at one time. It's not going to work. Not going to happen that way. So, and I think that is, I'm not going to say one of the problems with CrossFit, but one of the things we run into CrossFit is because we are so broad across so many different elements that a lot of times folks, I got to get better at this and this and this and this and this. And most of the coach that's worth their salt is going to let you know right off the bat, we need to pick a few of those and we need to get better. And when we feel like we've gotten better to the point that we needed to get, we're going to pick a few more of those and get better at them. It's not going to be bouncing just all around trying to get better at different things. So true. Awesome. Come back next week. We'll talk about hopefully next week we're going to have a nice surprise on the podcast. Yeah. So, hope so. And it's not Shane, even though Shane may be here. Yeah, we don't know what's going on with Shane, but there is some foreshadowing in the scene right now. So of the surprise we may have next week. Dang right. So, got something to do with S. Forest. Bringing a forest on the scene? Yeah. Okay. Hey, intern, cut that record button.